So, since Ark Survival Ascended came out, there's been a lot of debate on what game is actually better. Is Ark Survival Evolved the original where all the content is the better version of the game, or is ASA better with the better graphics and new and improved game design to some aspects? Well, in today's reasonably short video, I'm going to be going through what I think of Ark Survival Evolved and Ark Survival Ascended, and just the general pros and cons that I think I have for both of them. So let's just start with the OG Ark Survival Evolved. This game released in 2015 and it's been around with us now for almost 10 years. Obviously it'll be next year, so at this point 9 years of Ark Survival Evolved. This is where most of your Ark memories are going to lie, at least if you've been playing the game for quite a while. And although still to this day it is loaded with bugs, and especially at release there are a lot of bugs, Ark Survival Ascended does fall under the same problem. Ark Survival Evolved has the inferior graphics, obviously being on UE4 as opposed to UE5. But we'll get on to the specifics of UE5 a little bit later on in the video, and obviously it lacks all of the creatures which have been added later on in the expansion of Ark Survival Ascended. But ASE has the advantage of all of the maps, while ASA only has really the island and scorched earth under its belt at the moment, with AB hopefully coming soon, whereas Survival Evolved has all of that built up. Now, to talk about mods with these games as well, obviously Survival Ascended has paid mods as well as free mods, but it has better integration of them as console users can use them, although I do prefer a lot of the mods that you'll find on Ark Survival Evolved, as it's just had time to build up with all those mods, although a lot of the popular ones have been easily transferred over with some equivalents. Sometimes the name has changed slightly. I think Creature Finder Deluxe isn't called Creature Finder Deluxe anymore, but there is definitely an ASA equivalent because I use said mod. Awesome Spyglass is just the same thing again, and S Plus and all that stuff is over on ASA, and you can use that, and console players can use it too, which is a truly great thing to come from the game, because Ark Survival Evolved really does lack in that aspect. It only allows mods for those PC players, because I'm not actually sure the complete reason behind it. Is it a hardware limitation, or is it simply just they didn't want the console players to have that just for general reasons, because they thought maybe it would do something? I'm really not knowledgeable in reasons why mods aren't there on consoles. I guess people maybe want a more authentic experience, and it's not seemingly is good, then the game devs can't really control how the game progresses. But a lot of people have been saying the modding community is usually far ahead of where the devs actually are, and this is sort of a sad truth. I know it doesn't relate to what game is better, but it sort of is a hint to why Survival Evolved could be, as it has a lot of mods going for it, and there have been loads of mods produced for the game. But you could also use the counter argument for Survival Ascended, that since it's in such a state, according to many, in terms of myself, I would say it's not in as big of a state as it used to be, but there still is a lot of work to be done. All of these modders and these just mods that are coming out to Ark Survival Ascended are really helping the game, as they are just simply way ahead of everything. Wildcard, I don't get why you don't just chuck all those bugs out there for the community to fix, because I guarantee they're going to be fixing it faster than you are, because there's a lot more of us out here than you. And I know there was that sort of program where you could win prize money for fixing these bugs, but I'm pretty sure that has been taken down to some extent, so there's less incentive for people to fix this game. Again, Ark Survival Evolved is it's a really great game. It's just in its execution, it is always let down in some way in terms of performance and general optimization. These games, both of them, are littered with bugs and performance issues. People also said on one of the last videos that I did that ASA runs better than Ark Survival Evolved, sorry. And I don't really get what you mean by this. If it means in raw FPS values, you are completely wrong, because Ark Survival Evolved has obviously come out 9 years before. It is far easier to run. If you're talking about bugs as well, the game still even has more bugs than Survival Evolved in my opinion, and loads of those bugs were ironed out actually reasonably early on in the stages of Survival Evolved. I know it's still got a lot of them too, but I don't really think we've seen all of that fully in cover with Survival Ascended, and sadly that hole may open up one day and we just see an even worse side of Survival Ascended, depending on the Snail Games and the Trino business practices. Obviously you lose out completely on official servers on Survival Evolved, at least ones actually run by Wildcard or whatever server hosting company was using them, but ASA doesn't really have it any better with terribly run Nitrado servers. While there are some janky methods to running your own servers, it really isn't the best practice and it doesn't offer the best results. So servers on ASA have been quite a bit of an issue, especially with Nitrado's whole controversial skew of things going on, and obviously their signing of a contract with Snail Games, and it seems Snail Games isn't making as much money as they maybe thought they were going to get, because although we're sort of hamsters to the Ark Survival Evolved game, at least I am, not all of us are very convinced by ASA's new features. Yes, it includes new dinos and all of that, and it adds to the maps, it's added some gameplay features, but to some, paying that much for it really isn't what they wanted, especially considering they've already bought the first game. They simply don't have the hardware to run a game like that, which is still an issue with loads of UE5 games. I'm not just putting that on Ark Survival Ascended, but it is the way games tend to go to a lot of extent. Just all the new ones are going to be a lot harder to run, but Survival Ascended is definitely an unoptimized game. There is no way of really seeing around that, in my opinion. It just is an unoptimized game. Survival Evolved is too, but I would say significantly less so, considering it's just had a lot more time for some of those bugs, some of the really awful ones to be ironed out. I know there's still a few there, but that is Ark at the end of the day. So bringing this video to a conclusion, what do I actually think is a better game, Ark Survival Evolved or Ark Survival Ascended? And I've made countless videos on why is Ark so good and just general practices on ASA, and like, is ASA bad or is Ark bad and whatnot. I am saying that Survival Evolved takes the cake for the better Ark game. It is where I have made all of the memories. It runs a lot better than Survival Ascended. More people generally just have access to it. It is dirt cheap nowadays. It's got all the content on it. I think it's got a better variety of mods as it's just had more time for that, and obviously in terms of just bugs and all of that, there are less of them. Sadly, both do not have SOTF, but that is just going to be a thing which I guess we're going to have to leave in the past.